I've got nothing to say to you.
The man ponders his...
Can I help you?
You see a set of tire tracks in the brown slush that covers cop habit. You look at everything. The door... You see a heavy... The door does not.
Does Kuno care?
He's on your crime scene, bossing you around. And he's been here for some time too. This is where he hangs out. You have to get more out of him. He could be useful.
Try
Trying to fuck at the Kuno. Trying to fuck at me. Trying to fuck. Kuno only gets higher. It's faster, faster, faster. Can't take the Kuno. Stay out of the reactor.
Kuno gonna fuck you up. Up, up, up.
Normal is not what we got here. You've got to work with what you have for now.
Kuno...
An old call box. You hear the same waiting room. You ring the doorbell. Just seeing the words Andro Orlando gets your hackles up. Its very existence is a threat to your masculinity. To say this button.
Huh. This button looks new.
The dented yellow mailbox greets you with its graffito, bullet holes and... The box seems... Eat shit, pig. Fucked by the coon. The mail collection box seems cathartic. And then suddenly, you see it. Over all the other graffiti. The window stands broken.
Can I help you? Another thing. Great. I love that. Oh, yes, that door. Sure. There's nothing mysterious about it. No, I don't. Or some boring story.
He's attempting to maintain an air of indifference. It's absolutely not convincing. He looks at the dust on his finger and wipes it off.
Yes. Another thing. Great. I love those. Yes.
Behind the dockworkers, a ceiling-height window. The hawthorn branches scrape the glass. There's a little slide panel up there to let some air in. No need to open it in spring. It's still too cold outside.
Stuck in the rain in a traffic jam, man.
What's on your mind?
Hello, compatriote. You have something to do? It's about... Not...
Change the topic.
I'm not just. People who've studied these things say... Open your eyes. Haven't you noticed? This concerns you, policeman. It's true. Also, go right.
Lieutenant, not a lot of moral fiber. A lorry stuck in the traffic jam.
Right to work! Right to work! Hell no. I'm just an honest scab. I won't have talk like that around here. You understand?
His neck muscles tense up. The veins on his neck bulge.
Fucking fuck. How about you fuck off now, huh?
Okay, of course.
The man's breathing steadies, but his eyes are still narrow.
Don't think so.
Suddenly, this feels like a really, really bad idea. Silence. He takes the photo. Grey eyes dart back and forth on the glossy surface. His face is unmoving, hard as a stone, but beneath it...
Fucking loincloths. Really did him in. Yeah.
He's clenching his teeth. There is silent pressure behind them.
What it means. I can tell you what this one means. Only one. You want to hear what happened here? Our colonel is deep in the bush here. Deep in the fucking bush. In Benital, 41. Monsoon season. He's on a reconnaissance mission. He spent a month behind enemy lines, scouting kipped villages. Nothing but fucking bugs and snakes for fun. Men are getting restless. There's talk of switching employers.
With some strange emotion, this is about to get really graphic.
Our boy, he's only a captain then, but he knows how these men think. If they don't see action soon... At dawn, he comes upon two kids, breeding in the bushes by the river. Or maybe they weren't breeding. Maybe they were just making eyes at each other. I like to think they were breeding. We shot the boy. He was useless, but the girl, she was nice. A little fat, you know, but not too old. She was quite the entertainment for the week she lasted. Expired in the hands of Sarge Mason. The kind of guy who'd make Chief there shit his pants and cry like a bitch. God. Mason couldn't let go. Cut the tits off her cold body and fucking ate them. Said primitive spirits were watching over him now. Drowned in a creek a week later. Spirits my ass.
Something stirs in your stomach. There's a word on the tip of your tongue. Colorless, odorless. It's...
No. I was in the domain. In Jamrock. Being a bouncer.
You bet it was.
It's just... nature. This guy, he used to say evil is when nature and spirit meet in the wrong place. Fucking mask is getting sweaty. I want to take my mask off. But... go ahead.
All right, now. Free commerce! Keep the goods flowing! Right to work!
Hola, Wandering Man. How can I help you?
Hello, compatriote.
Everything's still cool here, officer. Me? It's a boring story, officer. Who cares? Very cool. I like your...
Wow, a very large red t-shirt with an impressive print stands out from the other garb. Oh yeah, the print depicts a muscled man striding toward you, a giant sword in each hand, encircled by burning embers. Behind him is a cluster of cabins engulfed in flames. Beneath him are the words, Hyundal burning. Smells like worn cotton, and a little old sweat there. Worn cotton with a side of flea market or trash bin.
Sniffing is okay, but please don't try anything on. Can't have you leaving your photon emissions in the fabric of things you're not going to buy.
You're not imagining it. Photon emissions? What is he talking about?
It's the man from Hyundal.
Walking away from his burning village, yes. The man from Yelmdale is the hero of a series of popular books based on a fictional version of Kotla, mostly what is nowadays Arda NFD. In fact, most people don't think that man from Yelmdale ever really existed, but they are wrong.
Helmdal isn't a real place.
Neither is the man a real man, of course, but both the man and Helmdal are an ontological necessity. But hey, it's not worth getting into an argument about. I mean, even if the man from Helmdale didn't exist before the adventure novels, the stories have made it so that he has. It's simple, really.
Okay.
You sound skeptical. It's not that complicated. All that's required is a more robust understanding of cause and effect. Besides, I've been to Kotla, though not quite as far north as the Helmdal, and watched northern lights travel across the sky. Very unique, energetic tides there.
Very, very unique energies indeed. Geomagnetic ley lines, one might even say.
2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? You'll just have to buy it then. But it's not like it's 2 real.
That's dirt cheap.
But what? I sympathize, I do. But this is a for-profit enterprise.
That's dirt cheap.
But why? I deal in goods, not services.
A typical Martinez streetlight sits among assorted floor and
700 real. A bargain, I dare say.
a bargain? No, it's not. He's trying to sweet-talk you into buying trash.
The light has undergone 3 transformations, and every transformation, large or small, has a price tag. Well, there are the costs of removal and rewiring. The most important transformation is the light's placement among ordinary, indoor fixtures, which has adjusted its morphological field. The light became suitable for use inside the home just a few days ago.
The boomboxes on the shelf look well-loved and well-traveled. Chipped, dented, they stare at you with the unblinking eyes of their tape reels. One especially catches your eye. Deep gold and amber plastic with a big old handle on top. A classic boombox that says, Stereo 8 approved. This is you. Golden orange. A sunset suite. Just make sure it works before you buy it.
Is the Harman Welshie W2, made in Vespa, designed in Seoul, plays all reel-to-reel formats, 2mm, 8mm, 12mm. It's even got a little radio in there. It'll set you back 12 real. If police work means playing tapes, sure, you can use it for that. Or any other time you'd need to play a tape. Absolutely. I've tested each one myself with recordings of speech, found sounds and music from a variety of genres. Even though I don't really like music. Hello, hello. Let me know if I can help you with anything. Have you tried it before?
The lieutenant steps away, pretending to admire some of the knickknacks on display. Looks like he doesn't want to get involved.
If you say so. Here you go, man.
Yes, darling. That's the coalition government ordained Parolidon.
Of course.
A heavy door with a missing handle stands before you, covered in dozens, if not hundreds, of little oddly shaped trinkets and charms. It appears to be locked. You smash into the wood and see a small crack appear on the doorframe. It's going to take one more try to break through to the other side. But you've done it.
You're not thinking of trying again, are you? What is this place? No, it's a gym. Though it looks like no one's been here in ages. I doubt the electricity still works. Good thing we have a flashlight on us. Don't forget to take it out of your bag before we move on.
Some specks of dust shimmer in a faint beam of daylight falling from the window. Other than that, the room is dark. An eerie feeling rises in your chest.
Yes, because it's closed. No need to look for supernatural explanations where a banal one will do. Now let's move on, shall we?
Your flashlight slides over an old green chalkboard covered in scribbles, sketches, and schemes like some ancient cave mural. Some of the writing has faded with age, but you can still make out sections here and there. Photos and drawings have been pinned to the board. These lithe, pointy-eared creatures appear to be different types of welkins. You make out autumnal candle welkins, casting wax-based magic. Translucent welkins, with organs shining under their skin, and even ether Welkins, hailing from the vast emptiness of sidereal space. Who are all those creatures? Fantasies of a tortured, feverish mind? One of the Welkins, towering among the rest, appears to be different, however. It's Vara Hamira, a high Welkin, his face white and scarred like cracked marble. This is clearly a Welkin supremacist. The note says, all non-Welkin races will be purged. The Haldor, the Tworg, the humans, and even headless men, all of them, purged. Imagine a world filled only with Welkin, Green Welkin, Dread Welkin, and the High Welkin to rule them all.
An inordinate amount of time has gone into drawing these little Welkin creatures. Some people really like building a world, I think, even if it's just for a game. This looks like concept art for a project. It's not really real. Political commentary. That one has a great beard too. Just look at those details. So much effort.
The photo collage depicts barren, icy landscapes wrapped in perpetual night. You see permafrost and glacial landforms, dead trees grown in under the snow. Entire oceans have been frozen from shore to shore. There are pictures of settlements on dried-up riverbeds, abandoned in a storm. Animal corpses in the dark, carcasses and bones. Albeit dark and cold, this vision also feels cozy in its own way, like eggnog or morphine, a much-needed respite from our own world. A pinned postcard reads, "The heat death scenario, a desperate fight for geothermal energy engulfs the world as Wirral becomes untethered from its sun, drifting through the universe." This is a monthly calendar from the year 50. Cryptic words like sprint, daily minimi, and GPI span the marker-drawn grid, the grand scheme of production and money. It looks a bit like an academic calendar, only much more brutal. As time goes on, the numbers in the boxes grow rarer and rarer. The board becomes an empty snowfield in the final days. Only failure and regret dwell in this region.
Looks like they didn't make it.
A note in the bottom left corner of the chalkboard says, "See the prod schedule filament for details." The handwriting is only partly legible, but you can still make out 3 slogans: Call in, Tune Out, Wirral Untethered, and Heat Death of the Universe. The full text reads, "Heat Death of the Universe is the new black." Another note says, "The biggest advancement in role-playing systems since the 30s. Outside, a cold wind wraps the building in its bosom. Snowflakes in the wind. An old woman passes what the locals call the doomed commercial area. She tries hard not to look at the bookstore windows. It's unwise." This appears to be some kind of machine with a cube-shaped heart and a wired framework. The keyboard has a rectangular on-off button. A piece of paper still hangs from the printer.
A radio computer. Just sitting here without anyone inside.
What he means is that these things cost money. Why would anyone just leave it behind? This is the Ream Civic radio computer, model RC5120. Equipped with a Feld mainframe and a Ream-compatible printer.
We have one of these down at the station, but I never really learned how to use it.
The machine lights up like some prehistoric animal stirring from its slumber, revealing fluorescent play and print keys on the keyboard. The hatch on the machine's central compartment is wide open. It's empty like a beehive without its brood. Some cables have been left dangling, disconnected.
This is where the memory should go.
Nothing happens. Something's missing. There's no tape in the player. Something's missing. Nothing happens. This old fireplace is covered in lines drawn in blue and red marker, the mesh spreading over the stone like blood vessels on alabaster skin. It looks ghostly and strangely ancient. Radio frequencies, it seems. UKV 123.6, UKV 123.7, UKV 123.9. Some written notes, too. Sparse and cryptic. Unclear. It looks like a cardiovascular system split into veins and capillaries. Very advanced. You think so? The web is comprised of radio stations, all lead back to one red heart, titled the Game Master Frequency. A note says, this one can listen in on any station it wants. Looks like a surveillance program. They must have had massive airwidth. These things don't come cheap. Someone very important. The leader of a massive on-air game built by these people. Whoever decides to call in to a call-in station, it looks like. A list of names under the stations suggests people across 6 Isolas would be playing. Muindi? There's no way a little basement studio working here could pull anything like this off.
My God. It's as if the less money they had, the more ambitious their project became. Exactly. This schedule, I know doom when I see it. The company was running out of funding.
Nothing. It's just lines on marble. An echo from times long gone. No one has used the fireplace in ages.
Okay. What do you think is going on with that computer, chalkboard, and fireplace? No, that's not it. I think...
Like he's ready to lay out a fine theory, crafted together like a puzzle box.
It looks like one of those popular pen and paper role-playing games. Only these people were trying to automate it, make it work on radio computers. Through call-in stations. None of the players have to be physically present. Anyone in the world can participate in the game, as long as they have a two-way radio. Then there's the Game Master frequency that listens in on the smaller call-in stations. I think that was supposed to coordinate the stories, functioning as a master of ceremonies of sorts.
His fascination has swept aside other concerns for the moment. He's a little hooked. Coordinating so many games would take a whole switchboard of people, possibly divided into sub-frequencies.
Not to my knowledge. They make automated games in Graz, Messina, Königstein. You know, places with industry. But I don't think anyone has attempted to create an inter-isolary game before. We just don't have the technology. Indeed, those Welkins are a dead giveaway. Role-playing people love that stuff. The world looks like a modified version of the WeWorld board game, with hit death thrown in. No idea. They stopped filling out the schedule on the chalkboard. Indeed, it's ambitious and untethered from reality, but... I don't think so. I think they genuinely believed. Okay, let's keep moving.
An iron safety curtain curves before your eyes, folded like a bellows. It covers half the room, blocking the way into a colossal industrial chimney. What an odd thing to do. Nothing happens. Still nothing. No one's home. Those curtains prove to be surprisingly sturdy. Your fist hurts now.
Can you please try to refrain from attacking random things? Why do you think there's something on the other side, necessarily? In any case, there's no way we can get in right now.
As before, an iron safety curtain bent metal, broken glass. You are the destroyer, the bane of inanimate matter. Kudos. Barbell lies on the floor. The color has worn off its weight plates. It's 60 kilograms. Your triceps hum at the sight of these weights. Show the world what kind of beast it's dealing with. Lift them. Why does it feel so familiar? No, it's not that. It's the stale smell of rubber. The squeaky sound, it's just a memory from another life. When a thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Looks like this furnace has a face, and it's a face of agony.
Looks like it. Looks like an old central furnace used to heat the building. It's connected to the chimney. No one has used it in ages. No signs of any recent fire. Only dead rats.
It's dark and grimy here. In the darkness you can hear chatter. It's coming from above. A voice, or several voices, talking to each other. Near the smoke chamber, upstairs, the echo is so prominent, it's impossible to discern what the voices are saying, or what's producing them.
What are you doing? Wait, really? Maybe it's coming from behind those safety curtains we saw upstairs. We should ask the lady in the bookstore what's going on with these curtains.
A lush layer of coal now covers your skin, sinking into the wrinkles. Your hands look ancient. Maybe you could paint something with this coal. Leave a cave painting for future archaeologists. No, that would be stupid. Still, it's good to have this dirt on you. Real men wear coal for makeup. A hollow ring echoes through the furnace. Your toe hurts. You see a terrifying ice bear with a strange compartment in its belly. The door is covered in frost and the bear's eyes are glowing red. This ice bear is a hyper-carnivore. Be careful. The lieutenant doesn't answer. His eyes are glued to the animal. A sharp slice of light shines out from its mysterious belly door. A gust of freezing cold air rushes to greet you. You hear a low grumble as the bear regulates itself. This is the inside of a refrigerator. The lieutenant takes a peek inside. His hand has found the holster of his gun.
Of course, just a giant ice bear-shaped fridge. Let's take a look inside.
The shelves are empty. All you see are crumpled ice cream wrappers with the brand name, Revachol Ice City. A handwritten note has been attached to the door. The fridge is huge. You pocket the note and the little fridge magnets keeping it on the door. A friendly cartoon bear smiles back at you from a glossy cellophane wrapper. It looks nothing like the fridge. The paper still smells of vanilla and chocolate.
Good question. It looks like an ice cream fridge.
Somewhere in the past, it's summer. 5-year-old Fifette lets go of her mother's hand, change jingling in her pockets as she hops towards the ice cream stand right across the plaza. As she makes her way to the market stall, the girl starts crying. A ferocious ice bear is guarding the fridge, its paws raised to ward off any potential customers. Her mother rushes to soothe her, but Fifette doesn't want ice cream anymore. She just wants to go home. The ice bear stares at them as they leave the plaza. A gust of wind flies one of the wrappers right past the sobbing girl.
I know. What an unfortunate marketing choice. What is even worse, the bear is still costing them money to this day.
The fridge buzzes with energy. The electricity bill on this thing must be catastrophic. A few bricks have fallen off, revealing a compartment behind the wall. It's too dark to see in.
Seems like an old bunker from the revolutionary period. Look at all those rifles. Must be an old weapons cache. There is, yes. And there also appears to be something inside the hole. Interesting. Do you want to take a look?
Your hand reaches deep into darkness and spiderwebs. Rummaging around, you find rusty rifles hidden away.
Are these any good?
Most of them are rusty and inoperable, like the rest, but one catches your eye. A bolt-action model with a fine wood stock, in better cosmetic order than the others.
That's a rare sight. Seems to no longer be functional, but still a beautiful thing in its own way. It means there are firearms, albeit inoperable, still lying around in Martinez. It's an interesting coincidence, I would say. Might come in useful in the future.
He likes this find. 2 cables are plugged into the breaker box. The red one leads to the ice bear fridge, and the black one to the ice cream maker nearby. An electric sizzle. The room is slightly quieter now. Something close to you dies with a soft electric purr.
Why did you do that?
The lieutenant raises his brows, but doesn't say anything. The electric distribution board now has 1 cable missing. Old call box with a matrix of push buttons. Both cables are unplugged from the somewhere in the dark. Somewhere a machine hums along with. As before, an iron safety curtain curves before your eyes. This is directly above the central.
You broke down the back door, the wards, the door. It's all gone now. Dark psychic energy leeching onto my shop. I suppose it's all over now. I guess there's no escape. Just a door? This place is cursed, Detective. They don't call it the doomed commercial area for nothing. Just look at the sheer amount of companies that have failed in this house. I hope you're happy now. Happy that you've ruined everything. Now that you've broken the door, the curse is coming to get me as well.
Host Almighty, she prays, guard me and my honest business venture from the curse that lurks behind the door. Blessed be your name.
Of course you didn't. You're nothing but a policeman. All right. You know what? I'm willing to let you investigate the doomed commercial area. We are set on the path. There's little else to do.
Her facade has dropped. Now you see the curiosity behind the fear.
But before we go on, tell me, did you encounter the malignant entity? Yes, the malignant entity that lives inside the chimney. It takes the shape of a woman, a witch probably. I've suspected that she knows more about the curse than she lets on ever since I first saw her. Yes, I've heard that. It's enormous. She has barricaded herself behind some metal security curtains upstairs. God knows what she's doing there. Some unnatural magic, I assume. You should go find the entity and ask what happened to all the companies in the building. And do return to me after you've talked to it. I'm quite anxious to know what she has to say about the curse.
If you're really interested in cracking this mystery, then we should go back to the furnace. Maybe you could yell into it or something. Make some noise.
Okay, but please, only a few questions. You wouldn't want to disturb the spirits. The curse is so much worse than you could imagine. It's a disease, eating at the very foundation. It's the curse of financial distress, of ruin and bankruptcy.
Didn't that curtain just move?
Everyone knows that all the previous companies in this building have sooner or later declared bankruptcy, and their malicious spirits are still here, feeding off bad business practices and disappointing income statements. There's something wrong with this building, I can tell you. Ever since I arrived, I've sensed an eerie, lingering presence, as if I was unwanted here. It's not good to talk about the curse, not in detail. The negativism, it's dangerous. Talking about the void wraiths angers them.
Such wraiths may prove a formidable enemy. Suit up.
Yes, I've contacted numerous parapsychologists, and even a pair of Simonese mediators. They provided me with the wards. The wards help to keep the doom at bay and protect us against the darkness that lies further in the building, even though now I fear it's not enough. Oh, this? No, it's a special Himian amulet, blessed by desert pygmy shamans, with a spell of compulsion. It's to compel people to buy books. There are numerous spells cast throughout the store. I had the books anointed with a different inducement spell, for example. It's guaranteed to boost sales 15%. Yes, the Simonese are very crafty, and their wards are extremely powerful. Lesser wards simply won't do here.
The woman looks aloof, her features much softer. Occasionally she glances at her daughter's silhouette. A thick layer of coal dust covers the furnace, coloring it pitch black. Something breaks loose in you. A mighty bellow echoes throughout the chimney's depths. The chatter of tiny voices above suddenly cease. Then...
Hello?
You've awakened the entity.
Hello? Did you say anything? I can't hear you. Please come upstairs. There's a safety curtain on the second floor. I'll open it.
You hear a low rumble upstairs. The sound of a curtain being pulled aside.
After you, officer.
Hello, I'm Nia. Did you try knocking on my window? I must have missed you. I've been listening to my Melius. So what kind of die are you looking for?
Could this be the malicious entity? Perhaps it's wise to go along with this masquerade for now.
Yes, Amelia is like a call-in station. You need a two-way radio to access one. That's why I have these. Mostly, they just teach you to swear in different languages. But some of the stations can be quite interesting. I was so absorbed, I must have missed you knocking. Then how did you get inside? By the south entrance? You know what? It doesn't even matter. What matters is that you're finally here. Let's talk dice. Did you have something specific in mind? I'm a novelty dice maker. Tell me the name of your role-playing system and I'll make the die you need. That's why you're here, yes?
As she speaks, her bone-like fingers fiddle with a ring. Her bones light, but her hands strong.
Very good. My rate is 10 real per set, unless you want something really unusual. Take a look around and see if there's any particular stone you want to use.
How did I become one? It was a business decision. I was a regular jeweler at first, but that's an unfocused field with too much competition. Some of my friends were role players. They asked me to make some polyhedral dies out of cobalt. That was my first order. I grew it from there. Not especially. I like working with rare materials and a steady pay. And role players as customers? They're nice people. Nothing really. I didn't know him.
Who cares about the dead body? We might be dealing with a malignant entity here. The lieutenant looks at his notebook. Then the woman under the large window.
Your window looks directly onto the courtyard. You're saying you didn't see or hear anything unusual last Sunday evening?
I'm sorry, detective, but as you know, I usually have my headphones on when I'm working. It shuts out most of the daily ruckus behind my window. Well, there's always something going on in the Whirling's backyard. During daytime, there are usually those kids. And lately, I've been seeing a lot of drunk workers hanging about. Must be because of the strike. But I never saw anyone during that fateful Sunday night, I'm afraid. I might have, but in this case, all I would have seen is my own reflection staring back from the darkness. It's really hard to make anything out in the yard when it's dark outside. Besides, I rarely get up to look out the window when I'm in the zone. It's an odd profession, making dice for people, but I like it, and I prefer doing this to sitting at home.
She nods.
Anything else, officer? We're inside the chimney of an old central furnace. It's strange, I know. But when I arrived here, all the other rooms were taken, so I had to build myself a makeshift home. Besides, I don't really have to pay any rent here, so that's a plus.
Plaisance was right. There's an entity living in the chimney. You should ask her about the curse.
Creative.
When she arrived here, there was no room anywhere else. She must have known the other businesses.
I've heard the stories, but I don't think those stories are true. It's just capitalism. We only hear about tales of success, so it's often surprising to realize how many ventures actually fail. Plaisance, the bookshop lady? I've heard that her business is doing rather well. Have the energy spared her somehow? Oh, right. But it's not just the bookstore that's still up and running. What about the Whirling in rags? Some people say it's part of the building complex. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the east of the Commerce Central project. And then there is me. I've been here for 14 years, selling novelty dice to role-playing enthusiasts. Not exactly a million real business idea, yet somehow I've survived despite the talk of malicious energies. Strange, isn't it?
It's because she's in cahoots with the demons.
What, so the curse only affects people with poor work ethics? What you're describing isn't a curse, it's capitalism.
The jig is up. The she-demon knows you've uncovered her true identity. Time has come to face the source. Fear not, for the forces of the universe are supporting you in this psychic quest.
Exactly. Truth is always so disappointingly mundane and boring. But I'm glad we got this sorted out. Anything else I can help you with today? More or less. Are you interested in anyone specific?
Rats scuttle in the dark rooms, under the abandoned blow dryers and dusty mannequins. Cobwebs cover rotors and radio computers alike. So much failure.
Yes, I think it was called Androgynous Orlando or something similar. They weren't a big hit around here. Turns out that working class men don't like genderless haircuts. They're scared of that word.
You wouldn't like it either. The others would laugh at you. It's not about the haircut. It's about the confidence.
I guess it just wasn't the time yet. It wasn't merely a gym, it was Artemitep's boxing club, a community project created to steer at-risk youth away from drugs and crime. A kind man from Zemsk. I heard he had some trouble with the law when he was younger, and that's why he wanted to start the gym, as his way of giving back. Kuno. Who's Kuno? Oh, you mean the kid with the sailor's mouth? Yes, I've heard him yelling profanities in the backyard. I think it would take more than a gym to help that kid. It didn't. If anything, it made the youth situation in Martinez even worse. At some point, someone started a rumor that the punching bag downstairs was full of amphetamines.
You should have known it.
Eventually, the coalition took away the funding and the club went bankrupt. This was a few years ago. It's gotten much more peaceful around the plaza ever since. Oh, this one's a mess. There used to be a company that promised to repair windows 24 hours a day. What could go wrong with this one, right? Turns out, the business was actually set up as a front for an illicit group that was producing snuff milias. Who would have guessed? And they never cleaned up the debris either. Now it's just littering the hallway and I have no idea how to get rid of it on my own. It's a sub-Rosa radio station that broadcasts real murders with real victims. Some people pay good money to get off on it.
What does she mean, to get off on it?
Don't worry, the ICP has a separate division that deals exclusively with unlicensed sub-Roses. This isn't our problem.
Good luck with that. It's not easy catching those perpetrators. You mean Mr. Fabron, the taxidermist? No, he mostly just did drugs.
But what drugs exactly?
He got high on some weird taxidermy chemicals. I wouldn't recommend it to anyone. Eventually, they caused him to lose control of his bladder. The smell was awful.
Even you can probably do better than that.
There used to be a fashion atelier here, but I have forgotten the head designer's name. They were doing well for a couple of years, until the insect rights activists came. The atelier produced a certain collection that used chitin among the materials. Apparently chitin is made in the Occident, where it's extracted from beetle wings. And you know how all kinds of political movements are big in the Occident. The activists shut down the biggest chitin supplier, which of course caused the price to skyrocket. And, naturally, all the most fashionable tastemakers refused to be seen in chitin from then on. The atelier went bankrupt before they could finish the collection. Actually, insects do have brains, but yes, I understand what you're saying. I think the protesters took it a little too far.
As she shifts around, you notice several dead flies on the windowsill in front of her. Legs up. They're not moving.
Anything else? They were made by a company called Slipstream. After they pivoted from making rotor blades to skis, their chief executive took off on a vacation with all their money. Honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think he's still sending out holiday transmissions from Tulula or Tiumotiri or Hashkor or wherever he is. The usual, I imagine. But he's been thinking up all kinds of new business plans and can't wait to get started on them just as soon as he returns.
Men like that are a curse.
Sure, but Slipstream is history now. All their remaining assets got seized by the bailiffs in 47. I have no idea why those skis and blades are still lying around in the house. Not much use now, I guess.
Maybe you could make a sword out of one. No, wait, forget it. It would take too long.
Fortress Accident, the radio game studio. They were an interesting bunch. We talked about role-playing systems every now and then. Once, I even saw two of them get into fisticuffs over Wiro. They certainly took their work very seriously, even if they seemed to be chronically liberal with their schedules. The usual, they ran out of money and couldn't get the project done on time. Well, I did hear them talking at times. They seemed to believe they were historical individuals on some grand quest. Yes, but when the money started to run out, they just began to complain a lot about capitalism. You know, how the markets are rigged to keep out new businesses and so on. In the end, they just didn't get it done. They didn't have enough willpower to produce something truly historic, and to show up to work on time.
Showing up to work on time is hard. No, scratch that. Showing up to work at all is difficult, especially if you've been drinking.
Still, not everyone is going to make it. That's the nature of the game.
The result is 1 on a 20-sided die. The dice is black and filled with little silvery flakes, like snowfall.
Anything else? Oh boy, the fabled Revoshow ICT. You're in for a treat here. The place was owned by two guys who had some rather innovative ideas about marketing. The bear was one of them. Now ask me about their other ideas. There was really just one, and it involved picking out the prettiest girls in the neighborhood and paying them 20 cents per hour to man the booth. And by man the booth, I mean slump behind the counter with a face that could maim you if you ever dared to disturb their bored magazine browsing.
Fritta does the same thing.
Employing silky teenage girls is a widespread practice, yes. Unfortunately, they always come in packs. I'm talking about acne-ridden girlfriends and gorilla-like boyfriends loitering near the shop. At least that's what happened with Revoshow ICT. And they already had the bear. The bear. Of course not. The bear was terrifying. No one wants ice cream guarded by a hostile apex predator. To make matters worse, the fridge didn't work too well either, and half the ice cream came out malformed and partially melted. Eventually, Revoshow ICT lost the price war to its rival, Glacé 5000. Glacé 5000 sold caramel sundaes for only 5 cents a piece, out of regular fridges. Maybe. Because the taxidermist who made the bear definitely wasn't. Doing his job, I mean. He said that the bear was his vision beast. He said he met his vision beast while high on desiccants. Called it Megatherion.
Scary, but cool.
Megatherion, a mega wild beast. It's an imaginary beast that guides you through life. By telling you to do more drugs, mostly.
Maybe this wise and noble beast can guide you toward those amphetamines you've been craving.
Do you? Well, good luck keeping it under control. Anyway, now you know the story of the fallen ice cream empire.
The temperature has dropped in the cover of the night. You see frost on the windows.
Anything else? Another failed business, perhaps? I've been here for a long time. Oh, right. I hope you didn't try to ring me. I think none of those doorbells work, including mine. I'm still in the middle of connecting the wires. Sorry about the confusion. That's right. I haven't even written my name there. As I said, it's quite useless right now. It doesn't work yet. You could say so. Both houses were built at the same time and under the East Delta Commerce Center project. That explains why you can call the whirling from the intercom, albeit I doubt that anyone responds.
If the whirling is part of the same building, then it's part of the Dune commercial area. The darkness of this place is there, too.
Right. It used to be a gaming arcade. This is an ancient failure, before my time. I'm not surprised, however. My advice, don't base your business on a fad. Hypnotism, fluorography, trick-track, especially pinball.
Agreed. Pinball is the worst.
It can't be true. They don't work here anymore. They've been gone for years. Are you sure it was Slipstream SEA? Was it a woman? Maybe it was Plaisance from the bookstore. Oh, right. But did this person say anything? Tricentennial Electrics? It used to be a major electric company 100 years ago. Are you sure it wasn't just some kids playing a prank on you?
No, it was something else. It was eerie. Whatever happened, keep your cool. It's probably better to admit that it was a harmless prank.
Pranks can be eerie. Oh, the kids these days. We were just one of them, and now they're terrorizing us. No solidarity. Sure, I'm listening. I'm pretty sure it still doesn't work. Sure, I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else? I'm listening. Good. I hope it clarified things a bit. What else?
You feel nothing. If anything, it's uncomfortably warm in here. She has begun to idly clean one of her carving tools with a dirty kerchief, the tool's sharp edge shining in the light of her desk lamp.
Yes?
What have you found? And also, do buy the books. There may be teachings in them. A novelty dice maker? Well, spit it out. Why does she need the dice? For some kind of sorcery? Sometimes they use the ankle bones of sheep. I don't understand. If it's not her, then where is the source of the doom? How did she explain the curse?
Before you say anything, ask yourself, is the woman really able to withstand the truth? She's squeezing on the pendant too tight. A drop of blood in her palm.
Wait, what? The entire economic system is cursed?
This woman's not healthy enough to withstand this level of stress.
Precarious world? Economy? I understand what's going on here. You went in there, rummaged around, and accomplished nothing. And now you're telling me these intellectual things to cover up for it. It's okay. You don't have to. I was wrong to trust another person. I will manage this psychic calamity as I always have. Alone. On my own.
Maybe you were wrong. She's endured for at least 4 decades in this world.
Thank you for nothing. Please, do buy some books, or be on your way.
Wow. Total psychic collapse between you two right now.
I am sorry we had to disappoint you, ma'am. Can we go now?
The shop around you feels ancient suddenly, damp and saturated by the coastal air. The books are rotting. A great cold lives here, and there too. 1,200 meters away on the urban coast, the dark shape of a church is reflected on the water, calling.
Can I help you?
Inside, you see a set of steering levers, a radio microphone, a pull-out toolbox.
I like playing in the dark. Sharpens your nocturnal instincts. Feels like being on recon again. What is this? Are you mocking us? This isn't for pétanque.
Now. No need to get angry again, René. I'm sure the officer tried his best. It's not like there's a bull kiosk here in Martinez.
The best, huh? This isn't even a bull. But fine. I guess you did attempt to right your hooliganism. Consider it forgiven. It's a Belle McGrave. 4.46 caliber. Breech loading. Revachol made. Good weapon. Accurate and reliable.
His moves are quick and precise as he first checks the weapon, then aims it at the sea. This man knows firearms intimately.
This one's inoperable. The bolt spring is missing and the mechanism is jammed shut. Still a beauty. Where did you find her? I'm not surprised. There are probably lots of forgotten wartime weapons lying around here. Back in the day, everyone had something stashed away. As for the rifle, I don't know what else to tell you. These BM-446s are an antique. No one uses them anymore. The ammunition is impossible to find.
Hello again, officers. Have you come to admire my mural?
Trying to sneak up.
I have really outdone myself. This is divine.
Yes, that's what you need, Gaston. More padding on that fat arse of yours.
René, it's a little pleasures. Hello, officer. How might I be of assistance on this fine day? Oh, sweet Jenny. She was the finest woman in all of Revachol. Maybe the entire world.
Do not defile her memory, Gaston. Let her rest in peace.
We knew her, all right. Lived on the same street our entire lives, just 2 houses apart. The 3 of us have been best friends since we were 4. She was René's first girl, back when the prick was 16. They were courting till he decided he'd rather die for some great ideal than just be happy.
And then you stole her from me.
Oh, officer. It already got ugly nearly 80 years ago when the 3 of us were just learning to walk and talk.
You stole her from me.
Well, technically, you stole her from me, because we'd been pretty close ever since you two had that falling out over the ink you spilled over her pretty yellow dress.
We were just boys then. This was different. You... No point starting this all over again. For the 1000th and the first time. Especially when we have company. Officer.
She died of pneumonia 2 winters ago. It was a quiet passage, peaceful. René and I were both by her bedside when she...
died. No use sugarcoating it. Won't bring her back, will it now?
Departed. Until the very end she couldn't decide between us. The most indecisive woman I've ever met.
A quick grimace of pain passes over René's features, but he immediately regains control.
She could never make up her mind about anything. What to have for breakfast, favorite color, or which one of us to marry. She was always leaving one of us for the other, but never long enough to actually get married. Heck, technically, we're both still engaged to her.
You always confused her. Couldn't let us be happy. Seduced her with your fancy words and pastries.
He suddenly remembers you are still there, falls silent, and turns away.
Of course, officer. Memories are all we have left. Let me think. I heard someone was hanged and left on a tree for a week, but that's all I know, really. No, officers, I'm sorry, and I really would like to assist. You are...
Then help them, you wimp. You have plenty of shoulder with the gauche caviar in the Union. Someone must know something.
I wish I could, but I just don't know anything. I always keep my nose clean and don't gossip. Everyone knows and respects that.
Respects?
I'm not even anyone...
Of course he's holding back. His mouth is so full of Union prick he can't even speak properly.
Can I at least finish my fucking sentence before you piss on it? Is that okay, René? I'm not anyone important in the Union. I just know Evrard. Everyone in Martinez knows the Clare brothers. I taught these boys human studies and history in the gymnasium.
What do you know about history? You never witnessed history. Only heard about it years later, when it had already moved on. You don't know history.
The old soldier mumbles something under his breath and turns to face the sea. The blind leading the blind doesn't even begin to describe it, is what he said.
Let's try not to get caught in a crossfire.
Oh, in many ways, yes. Like an honorary member. I attend meetings and parties, help with little things. Evrard, Edgar, and the older debarders all know me. Oh, yes. Not in the technical sense. I don't have a vote or a membership card, but Evrard keeps me on the payroll, just for the little things.
Of course he's not a member. He's not a member of anything. I knew that. He's a Weservein. Turns to where the wind blows and tries to look important. I hate this socialist rabble, but even siding with them is better than living your entire life on the fence. Never committing to anything. Pick a damn side already.
Writing work mostly. Occasionally, he needs something written, and I happen to have a way with words, people say. Oh, nothing official, I assure you. Just essays for the newspapers. About Martinez and how things are and how they could be. Evrard and I have these long talks where...
Well, he tells his little pen man exactly what to say. It's commie propaganda, plain and simple. You should be ashamed of yourself.
That's just the way things work around here. No reason to feel bad about it. No, thank you. For being consummate professionals. You'll have this case wrapped up in no time. I'm sorry, officer, but I really don't share food. Nothing personal, it's just a principle.
The only one you have.
Suddenly you realize how hungry you are. The last time you ate must have been God knows when. The sandwich looks like a culinary wonder, well made and abundant in components. The author sure knew their craft. In addition to the obvious slice of ham, a fat one, you notice a brim of a tomato peeking from below. And is that mayonnaise?
Oh, that's good. That's very good. You must have other business then?
The tear machine your bottles clunk into the machine.
Is this about the questions again? Because I don't really know anything.
You see several packaged raincoats fill a low shelf beneath a display. A colorful display of cigarettes and alcohol. The bottles wink at you in the light. There, in that dark green glass, all in. A small cabinet on the wall is filled with various medicine bottles, nasal sprays, and blister packs. They all bear the Saint Baptiste.
Give me a moment. Ask away, policeman. The hell am I supposed to know? Another nut job, I assume.
She really doesn't like those nut jobs. Bad blood there.
Some lunatic lost his mind. All kinds of morons pass through these halls.
She mumbles some kind of a response, then hacks something into her handkerchief. A plaster cast, but this door is made of metal and no one answers.
We should return in the evening, at 9 p.m. the earliest.
row of mugs sits on the shelf. Each... A row of mugs sit... Yes, you're...
There's the missing and now...
And enter... Perhaps you should break into apartments more often. Just an ordinary wall. Nothing to see here.
It's you again. What is it?
I've got nothing to say to you.
The man ponders his... The display rack is brimming with worn mountains of it. Rows and rows of Yamdalamen blur your vision. Maybe 100? Those snow crabs are not even close. Man from Hyamdal in hell. Man from Hyamdal. A small mountain of...
Wonderful board games. Browbridge.
Who are you going to play board games with? Do you have friends? Are you actually friends? Or just colleagues thrown together?
Friends. For playing with friends, I'd recommend...
Gendarmerie, you found me.
And his shirt is still unbuttoned.
It was mine. My friends use it from time to time to visit me. So tell me, are you here to make things right again? Beautiful. I have some good news for you. My Sunday friend is visiting me tonight. I told him about you and he'd like to say hello. Step in. He's already waiting. Trust me, you do. That's nice, but I don't have anything to tell you. It's my friend you're looking for, not me.
He takes another drag of his unfiltered cigarette and looks around. It's getting dark and the neighboring windows have lit up, one by one. Downstairs, a cat crosses the yard, disappearing into the bush.
Besides, I've got to run.
He's going to leave you alone again. That's sad. Something tells you you're never going to talk to an individual this cool or mysterious ever again.
To the city. It's a beautiful night.
A man on high heels stumbles out of a basement club, music blasting over the entire district. It's chilly, and as the chemicals hit his nervous system, 1,000 shivers ripple through his body. Something flutters in the corner of the lieutenant's mouth as you're saying those words.
We'll talk. Just not tonight. Take care, all right?
Different, of course. His shirt. His shirt. His shirt. No, I don't know why his shirt is always unbuttoned.
He's barely holding it together. It's all he can do to keep from bursting out in laughter.
Come on, detective, let's go. We've got a potential witness to interview. His Sunday friend, remember?
Officers of the Revachol Citizens Militia.
His hands are clean and well manicured. This is a man who knows the importance of appearances.
My name is Charles Vildrouin, and I am an official with the coalition government. I work for the Institute of Price Stabilité on assignment from Monsieur Laclé. I heard you talking to my friend outside. Very good. Super. I am here to assist you in any way possible. Ask me about the hanging. Oh yes, my friend has a great eye for these things. He refuses to tell me where it came from. It's a mystery. I believe they call this type of frame industrial. It's very comfy. That's really all I can tell you about it.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and nods to you to proceed.
I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night. It was so surreal to me, like in a play.
What do you mean, like in a play?
It was just so strange. I could barely comprehend what was happening. I was on the balcony when it happened, getting some fresh air. I remember that first they came in, carrying what looked like a body. And then I saw all the surrounding windows go dead, one by one. That's when I understood I should not be seeing this.
Sounds like the victim was unconscious, or at least incapacitated. Interesting.
I couldn't see their faces well, and there were quite a few of them. But they were very loud and very Martinez. Let's just say that the laboring classes can get rather expressive with their profanities. I couldn't tell you exactly. Less than 10. Maybe 8?
The lieutenant sends you a sharp look at the mention of that number.
That's a giant you're describing. No, they were all quite human, as far as I could tell. I went back inside.
Yes, back inside. Keep yourself safe from the killing.
Were you able to see anything from inside?
Officer, the yard was pitch black. There was nothing to see, but I could still hear their voices. They were threatening to kill that poor man. All men, I presume. But again, I couldn't see very clearly.
But we are fairly certain the lady driver was present.
It's possible, officer, but I cannot say with certainty. It was very dark, you must remember. I believe they were mostly white, though I believe I saw 2 Areopagites among them. And I am quite certain that one spoke with a Mesk accent. Well, that's the strangest part, officer. Nothing happened. It was oddly quiet for a public lynching. Eventually, their shouts died down, and that was all. There were no gunshots, no celebratory shouts, no anything. You're right, of course. That is what one is supposed to do in such circumstances. I was simply in shock. I'm afraid I don't have anything else to add.
About what time was all this happening, approximately?
All I can say is that it was late. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. I'm sorry I couldn't be of more assistance. The Coalition is only looking out for the price stability. Inflation is a killer, like a heart disease blocking the normal circulation of the economy. It must be controlled. The economy impacts the entire international community, which is why it requires international oversight. Well, I'm renovating it. It is an interesting project. The building used to be a 12-story skyscraper before the cannons took the top 4 stories off. This, of course, happened when the Coalition forces landed here. You could say I'm undoing some of the material damage the international community caused when we arrived here. Yes, as I said before, I am a commissioner from Sur-la-Clé working for the Institute of Price Stability. This is one of the main projects of the Moral Intern. La Communauté Internationale is what Revacholians colloquially call the Coalition. In other words, the nations that stopped the disaster of the revolution. It is the most important thing. It's the central goal of any sound monetary policy. Maintaining the price stability is essential to maintaining high levels of economic activity, which is essential for maintaining high levels of employment, which is essential for maintaining the social stability.
Basically, it makes sure the price of bread doesn't change.
Précisément. Too much inflation, bread becomes too expensive. Too much deflation, it becomes too cheap for bakers to produce. That's why the Institute of Price Stability works to keep inflation just below 2%. But not too far below, no. Too below is also bad. Below, but close to 2%. The Coalition believes in the importance of informing the public about the benefits of the price stability. Transparency is one of our principles. Would you like an informational pamphlet? A sound monetary policy is essential for addressing uncertainty. Stability is the raison d'être of the Moral Intern. It's the reason why I identify as a moralist. But oh, I don't have my leaflets on me today. That's too bad. You can always call our information line. Making information available is part of the Moral Intern's commitment to transparency. It's the international organization for moralists, hence Moralist International. The Institute of Price Stability is just one of its many mind babies, as is the Coalition.
Doing one's job doesn't automatically make one anyone's bitch. Besides, there are more nefarious powers to work for than the Moral Intern.
But of course, because moralists believe in a normal, stable world governed by democratic values.
Me?
You've managed to catch the lieutenant off guard, but only for a moment. He quickly recomposes himself.
I'm a lieutenant of the RCM, dedicated to maintaining law and order in Revachol.
A very moralist answer. The Occident is part of the normal world. Oranje, Sur-la-Clé. Martinez? No. Martinez is something else. Revachol is generally difficult. It's led by an interim government, which means it hasn't yet achieved full democracy. But they are working towards it. You're all doing very well here, relatively speaking.
Of course, the detective's personal views do not represent the views of the RCM.
Ah, my friend. But the lesson of the revolution is that communism does not work. Oh yes, the big bad coalition crushed the revolution. Tell me, if the revolution was succeeding, would it have been crushed so easily? Are we really so bad for wanting compromise, peace, and prosperity on reasonable, achievable terms? Ask yourself that. Now, enough of this delightful political interlude. Was there anything else you wanted to ask? What's there to say? Sur-la-Clé is a modern, urbanized country that measures very high on the Human Development and Freedom Index. Mostly, though, it's known as the executive heart of EPIS. Moreover, it is a great sponsor of less emerged countries. Revachol is only one of its many darlings whose progress it supports and cherishes. Because a great percentage of Revachol's culture hails from Sur-la-Clé. Its language, its people, its cuisine even. Or at least in the downtown La Delta area.
Jamrock and other parts of the international zone have been mercifully spared of Sur-la-Clé's love for meatballs and mashed potatoes.
Oranje is an exemplary nation who, as a core member of EPIS, contributes 28% of our annual budget. Next to Sur-la-Clé, Oranje is probably the most prominent member of the international community. As founding members, they are both very EPIS. Oranje carries a lot of political weight, while Sur-la-Clé takes care of the business side of things. Sur-la-Clé hosts the headquarters of the major EPIS institutions. Oranje's economy is one of the most advanced in the world. It has successfully transitioned from heavy industry to advanced services and generally acts as an engine for sustainable change in the international community. About what? Oh, it's very urban and very well organized. Their streets are clean, their horse cars run on time, the people are polite and efficient. Like I said, they are an example for less emerged nations to follow. Whatever you wish, officer. Ah, my friend. My friend is a good young man. His family immigrated here from Kedra, and life has not been easy for him. But he understands the importance of education. He has taken his future into his own hands, and that's all that matters. Kedra is a candidate member of APIS. But, between you and me, their potential membership is a more contentious issue. That it's never going to happen. They entered negotiations in 21, and it's been pending ever since. It's warm. It's also known for its mandarin trees and dust storms from Supramundi. Kedra's an emerging market, but it still has a long way to go. Maybe that's why my friend's ménage decided to emigrate. How did any of us become friends? Bad things happening on the Insulan Peninsula? Oil platforms ablaze in the night? Civil wars lasting for years? Finally, the international community is forced to step in. Au contraire, it's how millions of people end up where they are, meeting the people they meet. It's how I came here, and my friend, too. Sorry, who? But I told you, officer. He's a bright young man here to pursue his education. Education is the foundation of our future, especially the arts. It is a cornerstone of our civilization. Officer, you have to understand. I can't give you his personal information. I'm sure you have your own methods and databases, right? Please don't put me in this situation. He's deeply enmeshed in the study of the fine arts, yes. He's a truly free spirit. He likes all the arts. Perhaps graphic design, printmaking, who knows? The world is open wide for a talented youth like him. I'm just enjoying the view. Listen.
A baby is crying in the neighboring apartment.
No, listen. The Insulindian Bay. This place used to be a luxury accommodation before the revolution. Apartments, of course, were much bigger then. A few walls have been added here and there, leaving some of the tenants without a private bathroom or a kitchen. But the million real view stays. You can't take that away. My friend comes and goes. I'm sure you've seen him around. He's a busy bee. I'm all ears, officer. A moment, officer. Do you have everything you need from me? I'm afraid we won't have the chance to speak again once you leave. It's against diplomatic best practices for an official in my position to be discussing murders with local militiamen. And I'm pressed for time. After you leave, I should be leaving as well. Sure, go ahead. It's a beautiful space. Let me know if you have any further questions. Was there anything else? I'm sorry to say I did, officer. Because I did it?
He's clearly not a man accustomed to being spoken to in that manner, let alone to being accused of murder.
Officer, it's very difficult to describe what I saw that night.
What do you mean, like in...
It was just so strange. I was on the balcony when it happened. That's when I understood.
Sounds like the victim was unconscious.
I went back inside.
Yes.
Were you able to see anything?
Officer, the yard was... well, eventually their shouts died down, and that was all. I'm afraid I don't have any...
About what time was...
All I can say is that it was late. My watch. Yes, now I remember. It was 30 minutes past midnight, give or take. No, I didn't see the corpse until the following day. Of course, anything I can do to assist the... My friend, I'm just enjoying the view. We're old friends. Nothing's taboo between us. I'm sure you'll see him around. I'm all ears, officer. I'm sorry to say I did, officer.
Easy, detective. No need to jump to conclusions.
Officer...
What do you mean?
It was just... I was on the back. That's when I...
Sounds like the victim was...
I went back.
Yes.
Were you able to see anything?
Officer, the yard... Well, that's the strangest part. Eventually, their shouts died down. I'm afraid I...
About what time was...
All I can say... My watch. No, I didn't see the corpse.
It seems this wasn't the break. I think we have everything we need.
Of course. Anything I can... My friend. What about him? I'm all ears, officer. The coalition... well, you could say I'm undoing some of them. Whatever you wish. Of course.
This door is made of metal, and no one answers.
Let's go. There's nothing to do here, folks. Yes?
The door is...